Okay, we should be live. Cool. Okay, so I would like to investigate materials in Godot for the next 3 days. Seems a lot. I don't know if it warrants that long, that much of that much time to investigate something that looks simple, and yet I was looking at the options, and we have a lot of options here in Godot when it comes to spatial materials. I've been only utilizing the basic properties, albedo, metallic roughness, that kind of thing, with trio. We will never use normal map in this game, most likely, in most models. Ambient occlusion will be on and off in some cases. So that's enough combination here. But also we have to take into account some of these options too, and also some stuff that comes a little bit hidden under parameters. And some of these options, what I noticed is that let's say this point size is meaningless if you don't turn this on. And even then, maybe your model doesn't really have anything that would benefit from this being on. So yeah, we'll look into all these options, which means we will most likely create another scene where we can compare different materials by assigning those different materials same model. So let's close all tabs perhaps. And I think parsnip might be it. Let's create a parsnip sort of material test scene. Called parsnip world. Parsnip world dominance or domination. World domination. Okay, so we will most likely need a camera and such to look at things. I think we could bring in our camera, which might have its own problems. No parent instance. It's a bit too yo-yo. Let's change it. Camera. Okay. Here. Let's put a dumb model here. Or let's actually bring in our parsnip. We are looking for TSCN under models. Let's should be able to see stuff here. Let's save the scene first. Under scenes, let's run it. Here's a blank area. Also, let's make this scene as the default run. Parsnip. I'll hit F5. Okay. I think we need world environment and directional light, all that stuff. Maybe I'll bring our sun. See if it actually has any impact in the world. It's current. Okay, it has an environment. This kind of explains some of the problems I've been facing lately. I've been adding a custom world environment, and this was most likely interfering with the because this is overwriting the other one. Can I be seeing my Oh, maybe it's too close to the ground. And also, where are you looking? Or kind of looking in direction. Let's F you. You are looking in this direction. You should be rotating. Okay, there it is. We'll fix that angle. Now, there's this green stuff that comes with the parsley. Sorry, the parsnip. I have no idea why that is there. I believe it's called active something. In the code, sometimes it gives an error. Got the name. If I look here, switch tabs, stuck. Don't happen there. I think Godot is crashing. Okay, let's close it. So when we look at this scene, we have just the camera, sun, and plant itself. That's all fine. And yet, in the rendered view, we get to see that green surface. So there's something in the code that's bringing it. So there's only one or two scripts here. Action context, this kind of sound. Action context is UI blocked or not. Moving structure, you return. Otherwise, you. So since none of this is happening, but then this still doesn't look like the green thing, does it? There's no add child here, or this is. I don't think that's it. Facing. Zoom, rotate. So let's say it's not in there, okay? And sun is just empty. Is there anything here that is actually responsible for that? No. In the camera script, there's nothing else here. So where is that coming from? The nice thing is, now that we have the script, why the keyboard? Ooh, look at it. It's counting up, 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 up. Is missing. Is action pressed? Request for non-existent input map. Action move camera up. Let's see. Camera. Move camera. You know what would be nice in Godot 4? I think they're adding some stuff here in this area. The search bar is a bit... Not sure I like the way they did it, but they are changing this search to occupy a larger area. It was a little bit confusing with the property add part here, but I would definitely welcome a search thing here so that this list is a bit more easy to browse. So mouse, no, move camera up and down. There's certainly a great deal of inconsistency here. So it's either like camera rotate, then it should be camera move left. And also this should not be left and right perhaps, but sort of clockwise, counterclockwise, that kind of thing. Hope to south. Move camera left, move camera right. It's A and D. So for W and S, we are looking for up and down. There is no such thing. Yet, a while ago, we kind of these things. Okay, let's add those. So move camera up. Also, let's add left arrow and right arrow to these options, because we could have more than one button. Move camera up. And we could even do something like camera move up. But I think action name comes first, right? Intention, object, then detail. Add this. Move camera up. So let's do W. Then let's do up. Move camera down. Add. This one is going to be S. This one is going to be down arrow. So we have it. Let's run it again. Hopefully this time. It's still not working, mind you, but at least we are not getting a whole list of errors. Root time. Time timer. I wonder if the game is sort of in pause mode because this is also missing, because the ticker is not working. Root time. I think there should be a time thing in the. Let's see if this is actually doing. Game resumed. Okay. Let's add this time to the world domination too. Let's see if it's going to make any difference. Doesn't. I'm also noticing something else too. This doesn't look pitch black, which perhaps should. And if it doesn't, is it because of this? Ambient light? No, that's fine. Did I accidentally change the ambient color? Let's look under color. Okay, let me add that world environment here again. Oops. I think I usually end up putting a world environment with my own settings anyway. And maybe this is where I create a new one. Let's also approach the camera. This is my. I think I put the camera offset here. Yeah, that's. We actually get to see this directional look here. Zoom up or zoom out. We can see the gizmo. This is exposed. Let's stick this back to 0 here. See, when I do it down, then I'm changing. Should be changing the zoom factor, which is not going to be active here. So let's stick this to 6 and this one to 8. Let's see, the zoom is working. That's not working either. I don't think the camera controls are working. I wonder why. We can either investigate that or fudge things. I think clearly this camera script should work, right? Does work. So this should be happening. For example, we get the position, just output that here. When there's work, unhandled input. When I'm doing the key work though, the keys are not working. Mouse is working. That's because if it's mouse motion, it's actually fine. Oh, the move camera has been disabled here. Don't know which one of us has disabled that. I might have. The zoom is also not working. So the move camera is sort of working, but speed as if it's too that is to be fixed. Another thing is I changed the rotation of this. There. Which means okay, so we have to move this in this direction. Because if I change the rotation here, then I'm also changing my move directions. Let's run this. Okay, now left is left, right is right, up, down. We have the perspective camera, so this the zoom is now working because we are not in orthographic mode. There's a shortcut for that, Z. That was actually doing the orthographic sort of camera mode, right? Switch camera mode Z, which is ignored now. Let's try again. Clearly it's ignored. Maybe because I am actually switch camera mode. Let's look for mode. Here anymore. Maybe that's actually in the game manager somewhere more higher up. It shouldn't have been. This is the camera control script, but zoom camera. It zoom in, zoom out, except maybe they are actually mislabeled. Scroll up. Camera. Zoom in, zoom out, so they should find zoom in. Let's label them Zoom camera in, zoom camera out. Device, mouse, wheel. What do you mean down? Wheel down, yeah. Wheel. Down button. Yeah, these are all set up. Zoom in is wheel up. Sure. Of course, you have to change this. Zoom camera. Zoom camera out. There's something here that's setting it to. Maybe this clamp is to. So. Zoom factor 2. Let's see what's going on here. There's the size. Oh. When this projection is perspective, there is no size. Yeah, it's FOV now. It's not size. We've been doing this with orthogonal, which is not perspective. So when FOV is, try to do it. How can I have the main scene here? But I'm kind of looking at it. Need to be putting something here. So let's do something like mesh instance. Take a cube inside. Let's put the cube in the world. Let's give it some dumb material. Okay. Camera preview. Okay, here's the cube. So what happens when you change FOV? You go out. So this has to be handled carefully. So I will still keep this copy in case we go back to the orthogonal. You most likely won't, and I'll do this very soon. So FOV, let's just try this FOV. The problem is with the size, we were clamping this between min and max zoom size, which meant that you could actually go between 2 and 128 by a factor of 2 zoom, like the zoom factor, right? So right now we are at 70. Our test is showing us to go somewhere here. We are sort of in the horizon, like 110. Maybe 36 should be 2. 32 and 110. Let's. And here we are doubling it, or should not be doing that. Should be doing something like I don't know, subtracting and adding zoom factor. $10 maybe. Sort of arbitrary value. Let's do this. I don't know. I have to reverse maybe this. Like this should be minus. I have no idea. Let's go with this. Still not working. Are we even coming here? We even. I just did, yeah. That's actually, oh. Unhandled input. Ah, all this should be in here. Yeah. Why is this even firing all the time? I'm just going to do Alt Tab to go to Godot interface to see, okay, it's not firing. As soon as I come in here, that explains the all the move. Now I'm here and zooming in, which is also part of this. So it's firing all this too. But we should only fire this here. Let's do it that way. Okay, try to zoom in, zoom out. The mouse is working. There's no action. Zoom camera in, zoom camera out. If it's mouse motion, well, okay, it can't be mouse motion because it could also be mouse clicks too. So that explains at least one of them. Zoom in. This when I do scroll up, that's working. Except it's not controlling thing. Firing this camera size. This should be 4. That's a dumb way of reading it here, clamping it and not assigning it to the most crucial thing. Here it is. So I have to reverse it definitely because I'm pushing it forward, which is pulling it out. I have to do scroll. The value is when I zoom in, this is happening. So when we start at 70, right? Oh, no. Start at 70. Because in one just scroll up, it was finishing the maximum, was hitting the maximum or the minimum threshold. Perhaps, I don't know, this feels kind of organic somewhat. Okay, this is fine. Let's keep this mesh instance here, but disable it. Let's go to the world documentation. We'll start here and perhaps we'll zoom in, zoom out. So here's perspective camera, that's fine. Let's get rid of this green thing. And then we'll lay out our material work. But that will also happen soon after I get more tea. Okay. So Focus on the model. Min. You know what is also missing here? This is all fine because this is reflecting the changes I have made. This is not the most zoomed in, but that's okay, that's fine. Yeah, let's get rid of that green thing, okay? I'm super confident that's part of the model. I don't know why, that's it. Because here's the thing, if you don't have the model, render it. Ooh, the fact that that's there is, again, we must have some kind of script involvement. So if we disable the sun, we do not have it. Now, if we don't have the camera, then we can't really look at anything. And yet it's still there. Which means what exactly? If you have the root disabled, what is it going to render? Nice. Action context. This sounds so yeah, this sounds so much like what we are seeing already. Process, you are doing something. Attach structure. Okay, why don't we temporarily disable this? Render our scene. And now that it doesn't exist, whether so what's the role of this? It's attached structure. Release structure. Structure placed. And placing structure. And detect. Placeable with. So I suppose this is what I'll do, which is sort of, I'll disable the visual layer. I will keep singleton, so the code will work, but nothing. Also, why is this sort of one of blue, dark blue? Take this. Some kind of navy blue, right? This is not dark. Draw rectangle. Is this color? Is this 1D242C? Where is that coming from? We don't need this anymore. Camera, plant, the sun. Everything is on. Let's render. And let's fix this blue color. Let's look in camera first. Camera instance, urban environment. There's a procedural sky. There's the, let's see, ground bottom color. This is not that color. However, can I show you the game? I could. I'll try, but it's all over the place. Most likely it won't run. We have not been making much process in the game, but sort of systems. Try to show you a broken phase of it. Let's hope this is going to run. Systems are definitely necessary. Yeah, things like this, that is, at some point we have to make sure that we are importing enough systems here too, so they are not quite yet singletons. Scripts singleton abilities is not here. Do we even have utilities? Oh, see, this is, yeah, we've been switching to the new API. This is the chart functionality. Okay, let me show you the 3D view at least. You may have already heard of this, so this is old news, but good for myself. So, as a player, you'll be putting structures in your garden. Trellis is one of them. Raised beds is another one. In fact, we have a sample marketing scene here where you can see the trellis. Sorry, the raised bed. And using the game interface, you will be buying seedlings or start things from your own seeds, and you'll plant baby plants and they will grow up to this state. That will happen in a game world like this. And when you uproot your plants, you will be able to put them in compost units, so you can turn it into good soil and then sort of feed the soil back into the plants. You will have storage units like this for inventory. There will be wind. I think we have sort of the basics of wind. These guys are slightly moving. I don't know if you can see them. The weather condition will be affected by the geography. So if you are playing this city, let's say this is the Toronto city scenario. We have long winters, short summers, but the summers are hot. So you might be able to grow tomatoes, but maybe you would prefer a longer summer season. So in different cities, maybe it's better to grow tomatoes in those conditions. There will be challenges like that. Basic idea, besides the presentation that I'm giving you, to find the public pitch deck. Put in the chat. I hope it's coming through. Where was I? Here. Yeah. So also we have some UI designs done in Figma. Maybe they are a little bit more complete. Not all 100% implemented, but you could be shopping for different kinds of tomato. Maybe one takes longer but has the property that you need for your house, because maybe you want to make tomato paste at the end of the summer. So this is the right kind. Maybe a different kind is better tasting, but has different conditions. Thank you. So it's a very detail-oriented simulation game. You will be looking at weather forecast so that you'll cover your plants so they don't get frosty or they don't get too much rain. Or if it's a dry season, we are introducing rain barrels. I have them here. Yeah. So maybe you'll collect some water here in your rain barrel, so you can you know, you don't have to spend that much money on tap water. Plus, this is healthier for the plants. A lot of moving parts. So this is the flat kind, flat back. Also this kind, the round kind. There will be repair and damage motions too, like maybe this net here will be broken so that the water will get dirty. I think we can see that here, right? Rain barrel here. So yeah, the water in this rain barrel should be clean enough. Plants. Otherwise, you are inviting disease and other things. So compost unit, I talked about this. This has many moving parts. This is like a whole sort of not mini game, but carefully managed system. Even closing and opening the lid will make a difference. You have to keep it moist, so you have to sort of water your compost unit. A lot of moving parts. This is a raised bed where you have multiple plants. Each one may have a different liking to that particular spot. Some of them will like to be in that spot because they are getting really good amount of sun. So this is like in the green zone. This is good. This guy is getting thirsty because it's approaching the red zone here. Things like that. So I think from this week on, my focus will be on implementing. For the next 3 days, I'm working on materials specifically. Go back to. I want to investigate materials in Godot, and after that, I'm going to focus on one game system. It could be soil mechanics, and I'm going to implement as much as I can in soil mechanics, and then maybe climate and how climate affects the soil, that kind of thing. So far it's been going in all sorts of directions, and that's why it's hard to show gameplay, because then everything is kind of depending on each other and things sort of look broken. Not a pleasant thing to say, and people during the stream ask for like a demo, and I'm like, well, it's kind of broken. It should not be that way. I hope that's answered your question, but if you have more specific questions, I can answer them. Hopefully I'll do a better job updating the Steam page, so there will be a decent FAQ. But I'm glad you are finding the graphics lovely. So this kind of looks like has materials, right? A different scene anyway. Now that I got rid of the green surface, and we have the basics of camera control. Close, zoom in. I think I'm going to change that zoom one more level, or maybe two more. Let's camera. Close this. So we're at 70, and what am I doing here? So eventually lowering the number to get closer. So minimum should not be 30. I'm also going down 10 each time. So should maybe do this 10. So that 30, 20, 10. Maybe even 10 is too low, but we'll see. Let's do 10. Let's also go to the script. Yep, clamp is also here too. So it's inclusive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe this is the most zoomed in. Okay. Here. This one. So I think I'm going to create a new group here, spatial group. All these guys. Plants. Let's duplicate all this. Let's have 10. I don't know. 5 more. Does it snap? Translate snap. Let's do half. Let's move you back. Going to select 1, 2. This camera view is 6. I could squeeze one more. 7, 8, 9. Maybe 9 will be enough. One, two. Oh, I see. They're overlapping here. What that means. And let me do it this way, so I have it more or less aligned. I need to pull it one back, not 2. 3, 6, 9. Okay, now the material stuff. The world looks sort of weird. Let's put some kind of ground here. Mesh instance, some plane. Okay. You're at 0. Transform 0. I might apply a normal texture here to give this bumpy look, to give this one a bumpy look, but maybe let's start with an empty facial material so that it looks like dirt. I believe we have a dirt texture, which has that dirt bumpy look. Yeah. This is a normal. Yeah, let's apply dirt to this. Let's scale this up. Let's do 20. Of course, it's going to repeat like that. going to look awful. This is not doing anything, does it? It doesn't. Because what does this do? Subdivision along the x-axis and the z-axis. Because x and z is the y is up. I recall this used to do something. My material is so basic, perhaps there isn't enough going on here anyway. So it's like, essentially it's dividing this by 10 and this by 10. It's sort of ineffective. Alternatively, what we can do is we could use a grid map to paint this area with could do that too. But staying true to the graphics of this game, let's go with a material color that actually looks like. I think I'm going to write this down because I'm kind of working out a special case. So it's 4B, 4B, 40, 3B. Okay, so double click this. We could actually imagine this dirt we also have to work out the shadows because the contact point is kind of weird. This body of parsnip is going into the soil, but if you look at the shadow, it's as if it's kind of hovering, right? So we'll look into those options. So with this material, I remember setting the specularity to 0 because by default it's actually 0. And I think this was creating in some cases effective property. We don't want that. There's nothing specular about soil. We don't want texture. We may create some texture with a normal map. That's what the original dirt material was. So this is what I could investigate. But for something as simple as soil, maybe I should investigate that in the plant's leaf material. Because this scene has no light source, everything this. So here's the leaf. Hey man, how are you? How is it going? Last time we talked, I think you were investigating Unity to Godot possibilities, if I recall. Decided to skip Godot exploration this time. Ah. You do. You could always get a crash course from me. Wow. Pushing it to 4 and some more maturing. You might have to wait for a lot of time for that 4.0 to come out, you know? Just saying. I got some insider information. Um, to be honest, if you start now, you learn how to use Godot 3. Um, it won't go to waste. So, because 4 will take a while, and by the time 4 is out, you will only spend time to adapt to those new changes. So, if I were you, I would start. I wouldn't wait for 4.0. Cool. Yeah. It, I then I hear stories like yours. It's like, and then there's the those almost industry standard. Standard. The last 10% takes as long as the 90% or 90% of the effort. Let's say. Of course, it's your decision. I'm really invested in Godot for the same reasons. How can I say that? Reasons why I don't want to use Unity are the same reasons why I want to use Godot, although that's kind of either contradictory or self-explanatory reason. But I hope it makes sense. Anyway, my game involves a lot of UI stuff and it's quite handy to do. So, scaffolding, different parts of. Ah, okay. So you're talking about like prototyping by scaffolding? I think yeah, that's what's yeah in real life. I know what scaffold is, but I think you mean that. Let me write this down too. This make so this is the dirt. This is the leaf color. 467302. This is the leaf green part. Laying down the structure of what class does what, so it will be clear where code does. Yeah. So yeah, it sounds more like a high level design. Yeah, yeah, that's an important step too. It's an important step too. A3BF3B is temps. Also, which connection? I see. Okay. Are you going to tackle Steam achievements? I mean, you're talking about your generic plan, not the specifics, but I was wondering. That's also connection. Yeah, Twitch. Yeah, I've been thinking about doing some social connection in Urban Farmer too, which is just a whole other layer, really. Web3 update used one for a key input. Yeah, the question was specific. It's not that important. It was about Steam achievements, things like that, like the connection parts to other systems. It's kind of what you are taking care of now. I think planning wise, that's what. Also the 3 update calls. You have other colors here. Let me see. Role domination. Small Twitch integrated TikTok. Ah, 4. Minesweeper battleship kind of interesting. What was Connect for? Do I remember or do? Oh, okay, I remember this. I used to play with my brother. Yeah. See, we had this game in Turkey too, but I think the name was different. Can I even find it like this? Name for Connect 4? I'm pretty sure there was some goofy name assigned to it. But I do remember lining up. I think it definitely involved the name 4. I think it was called something like 4 stack. Something like that. It was a fun, cute little game. Simpler times. Perhaps a multiplayer game, co-op, local area network with your brother playing, that kind of thing. Um, so I have the color codes here. You know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to create a special folder here. I can deal with stuff. Deal folder. And we should find 4B, 403B. This one is in the deal. We should have 46. But this was alphabetically ordered. Looks 4, 4, 6. Yeah, let's type it. I will still have to find the other folder in 4, 6. This one. Now we drag this. A3. It's the only one anyway. Okay, drag it up. Drop it in. Done. Now I'm only responsible for these. Base rule will be players gain tokens and spend tokens to buy tiles. When owned tiles are connected, that's a good point. Pickups, bombs, some other stuff to mess with the other players. Cool. So I'm guessing people will be typing comments in Twitch chat and they will tokens to buy. Are we talking about these tokens as the Twitch? What was it like? Purchase those. Forgot the Twitch official name for it. Yes, it's tokens, right? Yeah. So. Madness. Somehow this camera angle looks better. The Twitch channel points do not have any API. Oh, okay. Not to Twitch. Make it available. People are asking for it. Also only for affiliate or subs. Yeah, that makes sense, right? That's an incentive to well, you wanna make a living too, right? The sub, good for you. Somehow the camera rotation is broken. Let's fix that too. For camera will be rotated via mouse wheel and wiggling action. Wheel down, camera rotate left. See, this should not be. It should be rotate camera left. And then rotate camera right. And actually, since we are bothering to do this, clockwise, counterclockwise. Okay. This was the left one, so I'll check here. Rotate this one. This one is that. Delete and page down, also known as Q and E. Q and E. See if this is going to work. Yeah, Twitch API. Let's look it up together. Curious. This is going to be Inception. I'm going to see my own stream. I'm going to close it. Okay, where do we go from here? Dev, Twitch TV, API, Twitch TV. Developers, perhaps. Twitch. Dev, Twitch TV. Okay. Just I'm curious where to find their API. Docs. Twitch API. Let's see. API drops, pops up. This is just the generic signing up, how to use it. We are interested in the API calls itself, so these are better titles for us. Drops. There's a drops. Understanding what it is. Event sub. When I see stuff is happening in terms of subscriptions. Okay, similar idea, but a bit more insights and analytics. Yeah. So chat and chatbots. So what was the term we were looking for? Let me remember. Points, channel points. Scrolling up in the chat, channel points. So if it's about chat points, no, it's about chat stuff. This is the original part that I clicked. Let's type point. Oh, I just actually came across channel points voting. Point. Channel points custom reward add condition, date condition, remove condition, redemption add condition, redemption update condition. Here it is. Channel points custom reward add. So channel points custom reward add request body. I think you might want to take a closer look at this. I think there it is. So it's under event subscription types, under channel subscriptions, and it's a very long page. If you see the scroll thumb here, I think this looks like could do rewarding things. Let's type points in this page. 103 for hits. The viewer has redeemed a custom channel points reward on the specified channel. So that's it. This is the first hit. Then we go all the way down to actions for each. Last one being update. It kind of sounds like that. The channel points custom reward dot add. Subscription type sends a notification when a custom channel points reward has been created for the specified channel. I think so. I think this might be what you're looking for. Gonna quickly check goal subscriptions. Would something like this be part of your game, that there are goals for the I don't really know how this works in real life, but there are goals for the stream maybe, and that's part of the game. Maybe there are teams. Whichever team hits the goal first, that kind of thing. I have no idea. I stream, but I don't know the environment that much. Well, mainly because most of my viewers are from YouTube. Yeah, channel subscription. Yeah, it was under this section, definitely. At some point there was a list here. Subscription gift. Which at some point there was a long. Yeah, I'm coming to that. It's as if this section should be, I don't know, these are sort of subsections. This deserves to be a section here. It's sort of pushed under subscriptions for the. Maybe it should be emphasized like board or the custom points. I mean channel points. Since you can't do verified subtraction addition of points for a user. I see. Yeah, I understand what you mean. No points custom. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Possibilities, options. Rotate camera clockwise. Is this even working? It's not. Both keys are pressed. It's not working. Considering how flaky twitch pops up, flaky. Okay, flaky. Flaky twitch pops up stuff can be at times. It isn't worth it. Yeah, it might. Yeah. Some stuff, it sounds so great at first, but and it's not worth it. Speaking of worth, let's print out worth here when we press the camera clockwise, which is actually hitting. Makes me think this is not working. If blocked, return. Is it really blocked? Who decides if it's blocked? Blocked is false. So some stuff is going to happen here. This. I think I know why. Because this has to hit something in the ground in the form of a collision detection. This is sort of a weird assumption that it has to hit something, right? So that means it needs a solid, not solid, type solid. Nothing will come up. What is the word I'm looking for? Static. Thank you. Static body. Okay, and this is going to need collision shape. Yeah. Collision shape or polygon. The polygon is a shape, but the shape doesn't necessarily have to be a polygon. In fact, it could just be a plane. In this case, it is plane is going to be as wide as the ground itself. What is it that you are talking about? Plane shapes don't work well. Will be removed in further. Thank you. Let's see if this is going to work. And it will, because it's actually thinking that the camera is hitting a collision surface, therefore there's something to rotate around. Now we can take a look at this. In fact, if I could change my default camera angle to face this way, so I'll have to go here and I'll have to rotate this 90 or here because I am using the there's something wrong though. Did it just reset itself? No. The fact that this is not changing. The camera script ready might have something. Process. Camera facing, there you go. Camera global transform basis Z. Camera facing, Y is, see, Y is the 0. It's setting it, right? Except something else might be resetting it to 0 later on. Interestingly enough, this is not making any difference. Also, another thing that came to my mind, since you're using Unity and C Sharp, you could be doing C Sharp in Godot as well. So if you want to transition at some point, maybe I said this last time too. So the transition might be a lot smoother than you think. Maybe it's just learning the interface. And of course, some of the game engine API. That's a given. Why is this camera not rotating? Well, not starting rotated. Camera facing normalized. And then what are we doing with this? We are not really pressing any of this, which is updating direction anyway. And camera facing is not doing anything else at all. So, I mean, the reason why I want to rotate around the pivot so that I don't mess up with my sort of artistic look of the camera. Yeah. So if this is 180, I mean, I could rotate it here. So where did you go? Which means I should be setting it here. Let's 0.8. So when I increase this to rotating around myself, not around the pivot, that's the problem. Because when we do it this way, which is kind of rotate, right? We are actually rotating around pivot. This is not called okay, don't mess with this because I'm bypassing game systems by just hardcore rotation here. I should be calling the in essence, when the game starts, something here has to decide on that, not bypassing it here. This is the script that's going to run and do it. I could actually auto trigger the rotation of the camera. It's doing the effect of this. Or here's maybe a simpler and dumber way of doing it. Just rotate the whole plants. This. Rotate this 90 degrees. There you go. This kind of looks like that. Run. Be all aligned. Maybe I'll do it the other way. I definitely messed up with the way things are. The controls are all messed up now. It's all okay. This is okay, 0. Let's turn you back to 0 2. Let's run the game. Something is looking very messed up. The mouse scroll, zoom in, zoom out works. Left works. Up. When I do up, it's zooming in. That's all. That's also, this S is working. Did I hit the wrong key here? W is move up. That should be mouse move up. Move camera up. Can we move? Okay. W or up is move camera up. This is correct. Why is it acting like it's zooming in? What was it that I was mixing up with? Wasn't that? Different function here. I messed up with that. Camera facing. Okay, but I think then I removed this, right? There was another camera. This one. Process. I think I messed up with that one. So the up is now no longer zooming in. This is good. Now I will try to mess again to 90 degrees. Because rotating objects in the world should not mess up with the camera movement, and it is, that was the so we have the going to the left blocked, going to the right blocked. I think we hit the sort of the neighborhoods limits. Maybe, yeah, we have some limit here too in the back. This is sort of the edge of the world. It's also the edge of the world-ish. Something like that. Okay. We'll fine-tune those, of course. This is just a rough. Let me see if I would like the angle to be this way. So how do I achieve that? I achieve that by 1, 2. So in essence, if I'm rotating 180, it should be the other way around. It should be, it could be 270 or minus 90. I think this might rotate again. Sense anymore, or am I looking at the same angle? Yeah, good enough. Okay, so what do we want to do with the leaves? The leaves have this albedo, metallic specular. Now let's first look at the specular chain. Now I'm going to, following our material things logic here from last Friday, we want to color code these materials. So it's going to be, if I recall, Do I have the script open here? We decide to go with file name structure that look like just the color name dash. M is the metallic value, S is the specular value, and R is the roughness value. And these are going to be multiplied by 100, showing, let's say this 0.5 will show as 50%, I recall. From. Do I have an example here? This is one. I did not create, I think, materials at that point. But I think it was outputting into the console here. Yeah, I'm actually multiplying by 100, so it should be okay. So if I'm creating, so we might consider this as the default, but then the default should also be labeled. So in other words, I will rename this. So the default one should actually describe what the real values should be. S50. If those MSR values are going to be sort of problematic to parse the file, we may remove them and we may just have 0, 50, and 100. Okay, but this is it. This is the well, I tried to rename you duplicate. Did I really did I? Maybe I did. Maybe I hit Control in the keyboard. I can't remember. Too late for that. Anyway, this copy has the right values. So let's look at this one. Rename. Let's do metallic 0, specular 0, roughness 100. Okay, which is M0S0, right? So specular. And R 100%. Now, here's what I want to do. Save this material. Go back into the world. Now, I may have to create some kind of labels here that we get to see in the world. Now, I'm going to pick one on the left. Let's call this the most default case. I'm going to have multiple cases. This one is going to have 0 specular leaves. Okay. Now, problem here is I have to be going into here. But if I change something in the leaves, this is using the default one. If I change this here, we have a few problems. It will first of all, I have to be changing all the material references, all these leaves, which is okay. However, I will be making that change in scene that is holding those leaves. Therefore, all the other copies here will get the update too. Although this is an instance, I'm actually entering the class itself, so I'm changing the source. Normally, if you don't want to touch this, you could do something like material override. This is where you could be assigning something. This special case, right? This is the special case. Special case into here. Then it will make this leaf look different. But again, this change will be in all the copies. So then what difference does it make what I do here? Right? That change might be so tiny that we won't even see it, perhaps. Perhaps a better way of doing this is to assign a completely different color so you can see what I'm. See, all the copies are purple, bluish, something like that. Something like that. Need to create a unique instance. Instead of duplicating, let me see. Is make local. Particular leaves. Let's make this one local, which brings us all the. Actually, besides making it local, there is also that option that. Where was it? This resource here, local to scene. Let's undo. Undo. Okay. Don't make it local yet. Go in here. So here's your. This is still the source of truth. I might have to make it just that copy. Let's make it local again. Just this one, F. Okay. So here's our purple thingy. Okay. Original green, purple thingy. Let's assign this some yellow color. So you can already see that this stays purple and this stays yellowish. Purple, yellow, purple. Now if we go back to the original, this purple, if we cancel the override and run it again, because this guy has just been localized, it's doing their normal stuff. So this is where we can actually test green things. Now, going to take a short break, come back, and I will evaluate whether I want to tackle that plugin I was working on Friday, because my next task is to do something like this. Now that I have all these leaves here, local, this plant, I have to be selecting them here, this one, okay, so that I change this green material, which is the same green material that is used here, so I can change it to something like this yellow, a custom shade. It's still going to be a similar green, but a variation of this. Maybe we'll have different S and R values. But Every time I want to follow the same sort of workflow, I have to manually select everything. So I need some kind of material mesh assignment tool, similar to the way this guy is doing. Except this is only assigning node groups to the nodes that you have selected. We are going to have a list of materials here. These will be parsed from here. Now we'll do the assignment. So we are going to create this perhaps part of this area. So maybe I'll tackle that or not. I'm deciding. That will be after the break. Okay, let's see if we can make some these items disappear. So we are right in the middle of our investigation. And of course, number 2 is going to be maybe after we fully investigate. However, perhaps this is now a higher priority task because in order to efficiently investigate the materials, we need to be assigning them to objects. Thank you, man. Swallowing chocolate here. Sorry for the mouthful. Thank you. So in essence, the tool that we are going to create will resemble this, except it will fit in an area like this. This title may go away, but it will fit in this area. Something like this. This filter will be here too. We want to have the add functionality. It will have a list of materials, nodes like this. We won't have this. We'll have add and remove maybe somewhere sort of just like this bottom part, occupying the space here on top of these two lists. So that will be in this part, which is just a placeholder text edit component here. This is somewhat working, but we are able to create manually these materials. Maybe I'll also do this by the end of today. And today is a very large concept. It's 7:18 in Toronto in the afternoon. Before midnight, let's see this part. So what do we need? We need hbox, label, item list, line edit, something like this. Let's go into the component. Let's close all the unnecessary scenes. Even this is unnecessary. Right? Let's open Material Maker. Scene. This is actually just the Material Maker part. This has been kind of made part of Material Things now. Material Things is a system that is called Material Maker as the top component. There's a divider here, and the bottom component will be Material Assigner. We could be designing our component here, and then we'll save it as a branch. Do we need a text edit? Don't need a text edit. Let's just swap this with the basic control, and then we'll branch out. Let's call this Material Assigner. This will have hbox. The root could very well be hbox anyway. We have dialog boxes and such. That's why I didn't make that's why I had this as a child. If we don't have these two extra structures under here, maybe I'll move this. I will repurpose this as the root. So you make this as wide as the half, and uh, we definitely need V-Bucks, few V-Boxes. Okay, duplicate. And inside each, we need label, item list. This is going to be replaced with this, so this is sort of the search box. Now, I believe this is line edit, but with custom icon. I don't think there is actually there is no such thing as search. Okay. Essentially line edit. But a typical line edit will have this icon property where you can actually magnifying glass or not. We don't need to be that precise. We could just do type to filter. This is for the left section. Okay. We'll make the width occupy the available space soon. So let's put the item list right above it, and then and a label right above that. So this label will say materials, perhaps in the text. Okay. Let's move you up. Let's add item list. Of course, when you edit, when you have the label selected, it's going to edit inside. So let's out. This is going to be, this VBox is responsible for materials. I will call this section as, okay, so materials label, item list, and filter. It's type to purpose. So essentially, we are copying this structure. Let's duplicate materials, but let's call these nodes. The label from materials to nodes. This H box is occupying as much space as possible, but these two guys are not occupying space. Let's expand both of them. I'm going to do nothing but refresh my plugin, turn on plugin itself, and the item list is empty. That's why it's not taking space. So let's fix that. So let's select both. Go into size flags, expand, done. Save, refresh the plugin. Material things, and we have something that is looking much more like, well, reselect. This looks a bit, while this is open, I cannot really turn on my plugin, but this is a very close look to, this looks so much like that. Perhaps later we'll have a big ass title for this lower section, material assign, and this one is material maker. Let's change this placeholder name to type to filter nodes. Done. I haven't refreshed yet. Thinking of next stages. Maybe in between these two, I will have these buttons. Maybe I will even swap these. I don't know. For these nodes, assign this material. For this, assign this material to this. Attach, detach. Let's do that. So node groups to the left. Okay, in between we are going to have another VBox. Let's do VBox. This is going to be buttons. Let's create 2 buttons. You attach. Something like an arrow here, that's part of the button. Icon. Again, it's just one of these. An internal icon. I don't think we have access to Godot's internal icons. We kind of do in like you are making your plugins part of the interface. Long story short, here's how we can do it. I think get editor interface. Yes. Then there's a call to get the icons. Except there's one more layer to this. Get yeah, this. Here I think you do something like this. Node 2D, which is this icon. And then the node type here is editor icons. So internally there is a collection here. You call this icon. But I don't know how that is called into this area here. I mean, image texture, sure, but you need to select the image. Or you could be doing this too. You could be loading it from Hive, but you need the icon anyway. It's not a big deal. I don't care. They're not doing that. Card. Where are we? We are still here. Let's call you attach. Duplicate you. Call you detach. And let's put you right in the middle. Let's make those buttons in the center. Select both. Go into size flags, don't fill it, shrinks, leave. Also, expand two, but they are going to expand and take. I think in this case we were doing let's make this occupy as little space as possible and this. And we could give this 10 each box 10. Save, refresh. Done. Most likely I have to give 10 to guide 2. Difference being, before I refresh, I'll show you. Spacing between separators is usually 10. This one isn't. This is equally spaced. Good. For these two, we might at least enable down. Let's enable close, clear button enabled. Now, next challenge is let me go back to the main scene. I think I remember seeing something. Camera. There's the delete icon. This is an item list. Here's an icon and text as part of the item list, which has its own scroll bar. Fine. This looks a little bit wonky. Item list. Select this again. Add icon. This could also be one of the items from the drive. In fact, let's icon item 0 as the name. Save fresh giant as icon. So we could make that icon. So in the other case though, it's as if the icon or the delete button is on the right. It's like a custom item list. Luckily in our case, we won't have to worry about deleting because we are only reading the available materials. So that won't be a concern. However, did I do this in a different branch and I never committed the code? It says if a while ago I was creating a custom item list item renderer. I was pulling the color from some material and putting the color here, a custom icon myself. This is the one. Yeah, I did it. I did this. Yeah, this is the kind of thing we'll need. In a sense, I've already done this work. Here you have group names. This could be like light green colors. You are picking colors for light green. And then you have, eggplant colors, whatever. So you could have different shades, different. You could have a group name, so you could randomly pick out of these. So we are kind of doing the same thing, except the process is a little bit twisted. So we are looking at existing materials here. And then here's the node list based on this scene. We are assigning. This is going to be the fun part, really. Left is sort of done. Here. Done until I realize this. Let me first read the names of materials. Let's first read the names, resource files in materials folder. Let's output just the text in. Let's do nothing but that. At this point, we should save this branch as a new scene under add-ons, urban farmer tools, scenes. This is actually followed under its own folder system. Material assigner with material maker becoming part of material things. So here's a big ass tab responsible for rendering one component, a divider component, and the third component. This is also a part of a bigger plugin system like. But now we can follow this guy in its own structure. Position here doesn't really matter. Let's reposition you because fresh here it's rendered in context, so pushed into its own position. At least here will be the top left instead of doing this. Let's zero the items here. Delete. Delete. Yeah. Done. This needs a script. Sure. Up. Material to. Okay, inside material things. Maybe I'll actually stick it. I'm a bit hesitant about this. Let me double check what I'm doing. Yeah. Where is material makers script? It's inside here. It has been sort of repurposed, right? That's the problem. Let's take you. Because I think I did a similar thing here. Except graphite has stayed with it. Scripts as well. Let's actually move you here too. Let's see what horrible thing has happened. Except this is still the same because I did not save the scene, which mode, fresh. I'm here. Everything is looking. So we are as safe as we can be. Switch up the sugar square. So let's populate the list. We want to do something like, well, when you are ready, cry out to the world that you are ready. A good starter. Ready. Clear, refresh. Material things. Are you ready or not? Why are perhaps the ready fired that I overzealous? I are here ready fired? Because this is always the same mistake that I make. This is a tool that I'm. In fact, this should just work. Clear, turn it on, turn it on. At this point, this is still ready. So again, it should have fired. Yeah. The fact that I have all this. Fuck is all this? Cannot open file inventory and such because for some reason they have been pushed under HUD at some point. And I have no idea why that decision, when it was made, why, how, don't really know, don't want to know. It's not exactly HUD. The user panel, kind of HUD, but then everything is a HUD. I'm afraid to move this because some other system might be following it in this folder. The fuck is all this is the right approach to everything in the universe. How are you doing, Keith? I think I kind of pushed it into the root, not into even scenes. Might no, it's in the scenes. Let's clear this, refresh again. The whole other flying came in at just the right time to catch that early. I'm guilty as charged. Interactive scenes. Is interactive even odd? Where is interactive? Interactive is such an essential system. That's been pushed under entities. Why? Okay, pull it up. Receptacle. That sounds more like a misplaced entity. Plant. That sounds so much like entity, and yet some other scripts are depending on it. Structure is also, and maybe soil structure will this clear refresh. Okay, we are getting fewer and fewer errors. This is an expected error. This is something that has to do with the JSON file, DLD and SOL. Yeah, debugging JS is that's the de facto. It's the default line you should say all the time. It's instead of writing this, you should write it like. How is your barbecue days going? Still doing briskets and such? Good pictures I've seen on Facebook. Season is almost ended, so look at the other errors here. So this is out of bounds. Is this going to be? Let's focus on asset factory. $114. Okay, I remember that. It's actually coming in here because the data file is VS Code for that. Need to open the data JSON file. Soil clay. Here's the soil. Somewhere here we will have ELD. The problem here is if I change this to sol, which it should be, then some other game system is going to give an error because we've been a bit lazy about things. Clear, refresh. But that fixes most soil errors. Build is not part of this. Is not part of that because miscellaneous build. Let me look at my active. Where am I? Asset factory. Equipment, soil, structure tool, miscellaneous building. So this is working. So clearly it's working, except still trying to read some index in here. Is there something like build here? Oh my. Okay, kill this. That's just a leftover thing. I don't think we need this anymore. So clear, fresh. Okay, this is as clean as we can get until we get dirty, which happens very quickly. Okay, we are ready. For what? Forgot. Yeah, we are trying to fill this list with material file names. They're coming from materials folder. So let's create another punk. We're gonna say having build in a few areas has gotta be noise. Yeah. Yeah, it's the abbreviation stuff, right? Let me read your command again. You were gonna say having build a few areas has gotta be noise. Yeah. Yeah, build. We wanted to go with an abbreviated version of names. MSC for miscellaneous, VGT for vegetables, things like that. And at some point, soil had to be soil, but then has been typed as soil, and build was build, turned into BLD. It happened. So let's say get materials. We'll change it again. We'll call it get materials names, something like that. Easier debugging, yes. Yeah, so before we do this, I think we need access to the editor interface, which means we need dependency injection here. Let's call this editor interface. Now let's open plugin GD under Urban Farmer Tools plugin GD, and in here we are going to do something like this, but this time for not material maker but material designer. Come on, you have it. If I turn this on, you'll find it. There you go. Same editor interface instanced there. Where is it? Okay, where is it? Here. Do dependency injection right here. Done. So now that we have access to the editor interface, might be able to read materials from folder. And to be honest, without the editor interface, we could still do this with directory. We could have a new instance of directory. We could do this within the sort of resource folder. Yeah, it's more fun to mess with the file. There's something like get. Speaking of which, there is a whole editor file system. Maybe this is what I should invest. I don't think you have access to this directly. Editor interface, get resource file system. Get resource file system. Now we have access to the file system. Let's call this FS. FS is going to do something. What are you going to do? editor file system, which brings the original point. We have methods, get file type. Here's the path. It returns to the resource type of the file. I see. Whether a file is of type resource or GDScript. Get file system gets the root directory object. Isn't that what we just typed? Get resource file system. Yeah. Okay, this is the whole kind of singleton itself. From here, I'm calling this to access the directory, which should be this. And then if I provide a path, in this case, sort of materials, returning the directory for this, so it kind of points me in this area. Yeah. Is scanning. So let me try this root part, file system. Get file system. Okay. This is giving, and this works pretty much like directory new, and then while you get files, that file, and then file. Let's output the name first. At least we get to see res something. Baby steps. Let's close some of these scripts. Chart definitely not. Interactive not needed. This is not needed. Okay. Let's do print. This is the file system itself. Can I do chaining here? Get files. fs get name. Which is this. Done. You don't print right away. You trigger get materials. Save. Except I don't need to switch it. This, okay. Invalid call non-existent function get resource file system in base. This should have been ready at this point. EI, employment insurance, null. That should not be null. Heat, there is no employment insurance here. There's no EI for us. Let's look at plugin GD. Material designer, material maker. We do have editor. Am I even using that here? But I'm using it definitely in Acid Factory. Here. Editor interface right there. Create asset. There might be a race condition. because instead of triggering it in ready, I'm kind of I'm accessing it as a result of a button click. So is there anything here that, okay, attach button. Let's pretend attach is doing what we want to do. So we do something like, well, I don't need this. Signer attach signals pressed. Our script name is what exactly? Get materials. And of course you shall pass here. Okay, this is all kosher. Come here, material things attach. Here is the editor interface. So now we can do things. Now, unfortunately, when I open this, I kind of want to see them. So it kind of has to be ready for me. So how do we make sure AI exists here? That was never a problem because it was conditional. When I pressed the button, I was active. It was never really ready at the beginning. Makes me think this may not be the best place to do this. Plugin. We have an instance and the plugin is ready. I think part of the problem is this. This tab is not in focus. So when the whole plugin that's holding all these tabs, injecting something into a variable in this tab, but the tab is practically not ready. But then kind of is because I'm kind of ready. Okay, clear. Even though nothing is open, not even the plugin, and not even the tab is in focus. It's kind of ready. But there is no deployment. Is there? EI. Question the existence of EI. Save. Fresh. It's null. You're kind of ready. This is not ready. Now, as far as I know, this may not make much sense here, but because putting this here is essentially doing something. It's an assignment. It's not going to happen anymore. Do we have another life cycle? Enter tree. When is this firing? I believe this is going to fire before these. Here. Yes. So I don't think it's even viable to call it here. It doesn't exist here. This is earlier. This is also going to give null. Clear. This is when you want to get something. You could sort of log things maybe, but that's not what we are doing. Init is a similar problem, runs before already. Could try it. Here. So that's first. Then enter tree. First, second, third. I'm almost tempted to put it here when I make things visible. So when it enters the tree, we make it visible. This is actually called when this is. So at some point, this is going to give true. Make this true. So we could try that. Could do something like func inject dependencies. A bit repetitive. And you gotta push this up like one, and gotta do something. Oh, editing also part of that. I see. It's the one we are, and when you make the plugin visible, plugin exists, and when something exists, you are going to be able to check something, check dependence. This might work. Okay, first time this comes, this makes sense because it's firing no matter what. But then, same problem. This should have been filled out already. Or it should be filled out when I switch to this tab. Which is much more efficient anyway because I'm not filling out unnecessary objects into an item listed. I think this is still okay. In fact, this is still going to work. But just like hitting this button and this value, we are going to trigger something like this as a result of switching this tab, which puts us in material assigner. This is actually component inside material thing. So this is the tab that's switched to. Tab clicked. Emitted when a tab is clicked, even if it's the current tab. Okay. Emitted when switching to another. Perhaps click this fine. Even if we do this, click, we are just repopulating this. I'm okay with that. So we need a script here for tab clicked, and we do not have a script here, so let's add. This is the right place. Let's not forget the tool. Tab itself, tab clicked. Material things, tab clicked. Inside here, I'm going to do some material designer. This is going to have a function. That function will be get materials, which is none of this will kind of matter. We want to have access to the, so get materials that we want to call. Okay, it's gonna go away soon. When I switch this tab, what is happening? This is just a tab. There's also a tab container on interface. This tab changed. That's why I'm doing it in appropriate tab instead of here. Material assign. Tool under emitted when a tab is clicked, even if it's the current tab. Tab hover. Imagine it's the same one. Both are using this. Um, I mean, this should definitely fire. The condition that you go to itself and you, what was it? Wasn't there a way to close them, or was it just in itself, material itself? That say tab close display. Show always. Okay, do this. Interesting. Close is not. There should be a close thing, right? This one. This is it. Drag to rearrange material things. Okay, something is broken here. None of it is. Let's close. Wrong project. This one. Still no close. Okay, let me click this one. Yeah, these are all red from current tab is 0. Something fundamentally broken the way this tab system works. This never really worked for me. Kind of does here, but then it resets in. Save this. We refresh the plugin. This resets it to 0, even though it shows 2 here. So let's pretend it is this one, and we go to material things, and there's even another current tab here. It's also because this doesn't have sub tabs, so but this is also close display policy. Always should have a close icon like this one, right? Just say it's show active only. Tabs visible. Then what difference does it make if no tabs is visible? See, this reset to 0. Used to be 2, it's gone now. About custom icons. There's the increment, decrement when you have the scroll bar enabled. So tabs visible. They're back. Still not fixed. Suppose I could try to do it here, which is sort of lame. Tab select is going to be looking for the index. So you need to we are actually writing it into its several things. On tab container selected. So we are essentially, well, whichever tab is selected, it's still going to do this. It's kind of a bad idea. This is where we are going to check whether it is this tab that we want. It's here because we still have the bindings for the for this fish. Okay, so it's working, but like I said, it's going to do it for you. So instead we'll do something like imagine, well, you are moving the order of the tabs. So if we say tab equals 1, so that 1 may change. So could do something like, well, what is my name? Name is this, which is this tab that we are interested in. So then we are going to do materials, which is going to output this. Let's also disable the click on this particular tab instance. So this function is discardable. This one, clear. Clicking other tabs should not have done. Still doing it for all of them. Material things. If the name is material things, so then what is the name? Should not say, should not be the same. This should not be true for all the tabs. How? Is the material things. So it's all material things. It's not coming from some other bizarre place, right? And if this is material things, of course it's going to be, but why is the name So when I change a tab, actually do this too. Just give me the tab. 2, 1. But what I don't get is, why are you making a decision about this, and what is how do you determine the name is material? Why is it not one of the other? Oh, the name is the script's name, hence material thing. It's not exactly the object's name. It's not the tab's name. And because all of these are running the same script, the script name will be material things. In essence, this is what we should have done perhaps. Get parent in this context is going to be giving you, let's back up. So when a click happens here, one of the 6 tabs, they are all utilizing a script by this tab. It happens to have the same name, tab string. Now at this point we are trying to access the get parent. I'll get back to the tab integer. Okay. So here's the get parent for asset factory, which has this ID. It's the same one. So they each have the same parent, and they're assuming that's the tab content itself. So we are going to get the child with the index number, which happens to be the integer coming from tab. This should give us 6 different tabs. One is tabs, some ID. This one is a different one. This one is a different. You can actually see the IDs different. Now, if one of these is named material things, then you're good. This will work. Okay, this is not going to work. Neither this, nor this, nor this, but only this. It was a bit convoluted, but what can you do? Now, if we click one of these, okay, we are running a script that is assigned to this level, but you could very well be writing that script in this one. In that case, you have to do get parent, another get parent. You don't want to write it here, but you want to write it here. So that's fine. So this is going to be our kickoff. Sort of doing. Now, let's comment out all this. So we are getting this. We even getting this, I don't know. That's going to happen only when we do this. Get the first call is this, but not this one. It's probably putting an empty line here. We'll see if fs get name works. You can see it's empty. So I think I'll do this in 2 steps: resource file system and then var fs as rfs get file system. And I'm a bit dubious here if even rfs is working. Then I'll output the fs. In fact, I'll actually do it. We'll probably output the objects. The methods are not quite okay. So let's analyze this code. Empty editor file system. This we knew that, and then there is the editor file system directory. It's editor file system. Get resource file system. I actually labeled this RFS, but this is the file system. From here, are calling this method, so we can get the directory itself. Perhaps this should be file system. Okay, this is our. Either way, it's the same. The result, the output is the same. So FSD has to do something. Say get file. Of course, this is the asking for get name. Okay, I returns the name of district. I've always been trying to access get file there. Let's try this. Which is empty. Okay, I've been trying to access the name. System is here. Maybe I'll do something like get file this time. 0. Control TSCN. Section because this code is material assigner. Let's look at the material assigner. I don't think there's a control TSCN. There is. So we are clearly accessing this. The fact that I saw this, because this is a control node, but it doesn't say control node. It's clearly a file. It's a file. TSCN. Why do we even have this? For the vertical threshold. Why is this even in the root? Okay, so we are at the root level. Source file system, which gives you the file system, and get file system is giving you the directory. You read the first file, which is disappointing. Why is it? But you read the second file. Question is, will you get the icon PNG? You will. So now we could actually give paths. Now you could actually read paths here. Get file path. Okay. First the path to the file index, but we don't want to pass index. Cease. We need to there anything here? Find there. Returns the index of the directory. So we could be passing materials, which will give us an index. We'll pass that index. Okay. By the way, this is a directory class, meaning these two class names are similar, file system and file system directory. In essence, one works like file class, the other one is like directory class. Do I have them open here? I don't. Where would that be? Of course, file system is responsible for files, but similarly, we have directory. This has a different set of methods. Try to remember how we do. Okay, create a new directory object, open a path. So in this case, this is accepting a string. And then as many files as you have, like while you have file names, you move the pointer in the directory to access the next. This dir get next is basically. So this is just the object that move the cursor. And in each cursor, basically you're either hitting a file or another directory, and you gotta checks like what, something like that. So it's a similar system here, except this is heavily dependent on the indices instead of so instead of just barely getting the file system, which is giving us the root, if we do file system path and we pass the path, say, let's say materials, I'm curious to know what that is going. It might actually consider this as the result. Materials, and now from that point on, 0 will mean this. Let's try. So we gotta do that in the fs, not fsd. So fs get file system. Here we'll give materials without any slashes or something like that. This should give you something. Switch to 0, and we already know what fs is. It's just file system itself. We already know EI is working perfectly fine. Here. There we go. So I was right about one thing. Not the file. No, I'm right about the file name too. This is the file. 0C273. So we are in here. Of course, there is no recursive. Let's do it. We might actually have this materials folder organized. In a way that there are many folders. So perhaps we should do some kind of lookup, like bring me all the resource files. That way, I don't need to know their hierarchy, except I will hold that hierarchy information when I'm assigning it to the. Actually knows from which path it has to read and assign it. Proper resource slot here. SD gets file system still here. So we need to establish recursiveness here, some kind of while loop. Here we do that by file name get next. Get file count, as many files as you can. Question I have, let's get the file count first, then I'll ask questions. File. Okay. 120. Now let's investigate. Materials. Now in this folder we have 121 items. That one item extra is the folder itself, so it's not reading the subfolders. Or it's not taking into account the folders as item. Just the straightforward items. Doesn't even have a parameter that is considering subfolders as. There's something like type get subdir count. Okay. At some point in the file system, wasn't there something about file type, get file type? This is actually giving you either resource. Okay. So we could only parse the resource files. Get file. But okay, this is a one file thing. Basically, you don't know the type of the file. You have a pointer traversing this. Say, give me the type of this file. Okay. This is an extra thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to deal with subfolders, so it may not be necessary. Let's pretend we have a flat material folder list. We have 120. This is all good. Since this is a custom thing that we are writing only for materials, it's all assumptions, all opinions. It's very opinionated. Okay. Get file count. So you do something like for var. There's no var. For file in SD get file counts. So this is giving you something from 0 to 102. So we could be doing something like file, something like get. It's just a file as the index. This should be what was this giving you? The string name turns to name. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it actually gives you all the bottom. You have yellow, white, and such. White, yellow, whatever. I'm reading it reverse here and then. tree outlines, compost, plant trellis. It's all in order. So now that we have access to file names, we practically have access to the file itself. We could deduce the path, could read the color information. This preview that we have here is practically what we want to display here with this text. But I think this is where I'm going to conclude the stream. We are somewhere 20-25% down in the third item here. And this list will be the material for tomorrow and Friday. This has been developed for a while. We are making all these tools so we can have the assignment process working out seamlessly for us. So we can finally start testing books of materials, so we can create different versions and assign them easily. That's the whole goal. So like one topic is leading to next, but it's all about materials. We'll tackle that tomorrow.